Happy full moon in Leo, Aries rising. I'm very excited to reveal to you where this powerful full moon is going to impact your life. So, this moon for all Aries rising is in the house of creativity, love, and sharing your gifts. This is the fifth house. So this is a time to complete any projects that you've been working on, to get really clear on what light, what gifts you want to share to the world. I also really want to remind you that this is a time to look at who you are as a creative person. So I want to remind you that yes, you have this Aries energy. Of course, you have many versatile other aspects going on within you and in your chart, and this Aries rising just really represents, what is going on in the external life, while then the moon represents your inner world. So looking at that duality, who is it that you are in the world, and how is it that you relate to the inner self? So, for example, the creative self is a part of you, but it's not who you are. So just as this Leo sun, right, is the archetype of this full moon, we look at our sun energy, our solar plexus, our life force, and Leo represents the actor, the artist. And the opposite, so the shadow aspect, which this eclipse energy is often harmonizing with, is the villain. So, the sabotager, the one that wants to, and really the inner critic, I should say. Every artist, has a intense inner critic. And the more successful you are, the bigger your critic. So really knowing you as an individual, how you relate to your creative self, and also how you relate to your inner critic, knowing that they are separate of you, that they are archetypes and aspects that you can call in, that you don't always have to be a critic, you don't always have to be the artist, but that these are parts that you get to play on the stage of life. So your full moon rituals, really getting to know where do you kind of sabotage your creative energy? Like, do you distract yourself easily? Do you stay busy instead of productive? And just kind of note any habits or limiting beliefs that may arise. And then I really invite you to make a list of 20 things that you're really grateful for, that you've accomplished in your lifetime. Often as the artist, we sometimes don't have a name or a title or a true understanding of what we are creating, because when we're very much living in that intuitive realm, we're just doing, or we're just being with that creative energy. And kind of later in life, when people are defining what, like, dream work and performance, transformational arts, you're like, wow, that's what I was doing all along, I just didn't know it. So to kind of go back right now during this time and look at all the things that you have accomplished as an artist, as someone that is creative. And I want to open up this sphere of creativity as not just a painter, an artist, or musician, but someone that uses creative life force energy, meaning cooking fabulous meals, gardening, speaking, writing, listening. There can be an art of listening that is so profound. So I really just want you to kind of open up, those old stereotypes of what a real artist is, and explore your own artistry. This is really an important time for you to kind of remember all that you've accomplished, in order for you to just have some gratitude, to kind of shut up that inner critic, and to just acknowledge all the magic that you have accomplished in your lifetime. And this might awaken things that want to be born again in you over this next 6-month process, because whatever is kind of, ending or accumulating, will have some more light in about 6 months. So I also wanted to do a tarot reading for a little lunar forecast so I always like to kind of give like a 2-week forecast from this full moon to the new moon in Aquarius. So I'm pulling 3 cards. The first card is the overall energy for this cycle that you're in, until, again, February 4th. And then I'm now pulling a card that represents kind of the conflict, and then what is the solution. And as you know, I'm pulling them right now as we speak. Okay, so the overall energy for you is the Sun of Cups. And so this is a real beautiful balance of the masculine energy supporting the feminine. Now, masculine energy often feels very uncomfortable being vulnerable, yet that's where true creativity comes from, is our vulnerability, of our willingness to be open, awake, and alive. And the masculine often needs to be that rational part of us that needs to pay the bills, do all these things. Not that women don't, or the feminine energy doesn't have that capability. It's just asking for it to be more intuitive, more alive. And so learning to be kind of like your own inner support is going to be really important. Often we kind of want to rely on others to do the tasks, but this is the time where you make space for your feminine energy. So you do your grounded work, you get your bills paid, you do your work, and then you come home and you do your feminine energy, where you receive messages, you go into meditation, and you do dream work. Now, the conflict is reverse 8 of Wands, and this is a time where you're, trying to put a lot of energy out. We're in eclipse season, we're in portal season, and obviously we're going to be slowing down in February. And so the conflict is just kind of to try to bring in all that psychic awareness that you had during the season. So if you had like a big project, or you had all these ideas, because often eclipses spring in all these ideas and new concepts and new perspectives, and trying to like share it and then project it out into the world, it takes energy, and often it takes energy away from you. So this is a really profound time to just look at, where are you focusing your energy? Are you trying to be out into the world when you're really not ready? Take time. This, again, we're still in winter. We're still in the visionary process of the year. And this is not a time to go out and like be this big, huge energy yet. That comes when spring comes, and you can just honor where you are on your own cycle. And, this conflict is just trying to honor this time of needing this feeling or this expectation to be out into the world, but you really just need to honor this time of, okay, I'm working on something. Let me do the foundation and the visionary before giving it to the world. So the solution, you have reverse 2 of discs. So you've been trying to balance different projects. You're trying to maybe balance relationship and work life, or, body over your mental mind. And this is kind of reverse 2 of discs is looking at letting go of something to focus your whole energy to. So when we're really scattered, our energy is scattered, our mind is scattered. And so when we're trying to manifest something big into our life, we don't have enough, we don't have all our energy. So imagine, if you were just like fire. So, or like a fireman trying to put out a fire, right? So they have this really big hose, and usually it's like this really one big hose that all the firemen hold on to, and they use that to take out the fire. But instead, if they had all the firemen with tiny little hoses, it it would take longer, because the energy is like, some people are spraying it in this direction and people are doing this direction, and some's going high and low, and it's just very scattered. If you have one big, huge hose of water and you're all working together to put out the fire, that's the kind of energy I'm talking about. Obviously not putting out the fire, but raising it for your passions and desires. So kind of see where you can let go of certain priorities and just focus your energy in one direction. So, this full moon is really about looking at your creative energy. How can you have a better relationship with your creative self, what you're offering to the world, and make sure to make a list of gratitude, because this is where we find our magic. So, my dears, if you want to know how the rest of your week is going, I have done moon scopes for all rising signs, and so I give out weekly written moon scopes for every rising sign, as I said, and this is a chance for you to really look at where do you focus your energy. So the moon is the lens in which we perceive life. It's actually how we experience life. So when we look at where, and the moon is also, again, where do we focus our energy? Where do we focus our attention? What world are we living in? And so this is a really nice time. The moon changes every 2.5 days. So we go through different cycles all within 1 week. And we often feel this in a week, that we can go from being happy to sad, or angry to blissed out. So it's like just looking at the cycles and know how they relate to your life will be a very profound and productive process for you. The moon represents our feminine energy, our intuition, our subconscious mind, and it represents our inner world, which is so often what we're relating to. And this is the year, since North Node is in Cancer, to follow the phases of the moon to really empower yourself. So I give suggestions on how to use this energy for your rising sign. I give you life coaching goals. I give you ritual suggestions. This is a really great time to empower yourself through the moon. So thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to your full moon magic. Blessed be.